it's a Monday, so it's not a happy Monday. Hello, fabulous human. Welcome to Male Say, a space where men speak. My name is Makabelo Motau, also known as your social and dating coach, and your host for this feature that I run on my timeline every day. How lucky is that? How good is that? Right? This is the daily feature run on my timeline where I talk to black men from all different backgrounds. And today I have with me one of my good friends as well, although it's just good friends online. Hi, Thabiso.
Hi.
How are
Good
you?
afternoon I'm fine, thanks. Good afternoon to everyone who's watching. And yes, yeah, best friends online, even though we don't really spend much time together talking. But yeah,
And we
thanks for
haven't met,
having me.
hey? We've never met.
Still have never met, eh? Still have never met.
Years later.
But I feel like I've known you though. I feel like I've known you for a while. So yeah, I guess that's
Because
what
I can get my papinyana, so.
we kept the social distancing on point long before coronavirus.
Thabiso, I love your background. I see you advertising your academy there. So tell us about yourself.
Yes, yeah, branding. So Coach Thabiso Mailula is a life coach trainer, master NLP practitioner, and also a master life coach. Um, I've been coaching since 2013. Started training since 2016. In 2018, I started my own baby, which is the Subconscious Frequency Academy. And I run courses all over, and now we're moving online. So yes, I'm excited about that.
That's good. So what kind of services do you guys offer? What do you do exactly?
So we offer life coaching training, NLP
Hmm.
practitioner training, and public speaking training. So those
Oh,
are the
okay.
three courses that we're
Also,
offering.
you
So
coach the coaches.
yes, we coach and train the coaches.
Oh, okay. No, that's interesting. So today we're talking about self-development. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you specifically about this was that you know how I think in the business that we're in, it's the clientele is always women. Men really invest in their development. Why is that? Why, especially black men, why is it that they never invest in things like life coaching or life coach or therapy? Or why is it that why?
You're actually quite right. Often as men, they'll like to say things like, why fix it if it's not broken? And we think,
Mhm.
or as a man, if I need to go and seek help or if I need to go and do work on my personal development, it means there's something wrong with me. Not
Mm.
thinking that maybe my personal development could be something that I use as to improve myself. And
Yeah.
I think mainly us as black men, we're quite content with just being okay. We're content with just being fine instead of working towards being better than fine, instead of working to be better than good enough. So
Mm.
if now I'm just okay, I'm just an average person who doesn't have any problems, who's living an average life, that's what normally we quite content with. And another thing as I think as black men is I think this whole notion, I think maybe growing up from the way we're raised, we for lack of a better
Mm.
word, for always seeming as if I've got it together,
Mm.
and I think that's what ruins most of us because then I have to keep this facade. I have to wear this mask that makes it look like I've got it together, that I'm coping, that I've got everything together, and this fake life of I've got everything, whereas inside I'm breaking. Then that's what
Mm.
makes it difficult for a lot of us to actually go and say, you know what, maybe I need to go and improve on this because it means I need to acknowledge that there is something that I could improve on.
Mm. So, I mean, how does someone know if they need a life coach or if they need self-development? How do you know that, you know what, I need something, man. I need a life coach. Like, I need to figure out what's my purpose. I need to figure out, like, how do you know?
Personally, I think who doesn't need one? And the reason I'm saying that is, often even students who go through my courses, they feel like, I've done this course and this course has helped me deal with so much. And since I'm going to go out there as a professional trying to help other people, it means I'm okay. For me, the answer is if you are a person who feels that there are areas that you can improve on, if you are a person who feels that there are things that you could become better than, that
Yeah.
right now you are not, or if you feel that you could benefit from having somebody hold you accountable, if you are someone who feels that, you know what, maybe I could benefit from somebody helping me know what is my purpose in life, somebody
Mm,
helping me know how is it that I can offer better, more in life, and improve on certain things, because there are certain things, yes, all of us have the capability to improve, but there are certain things that when you have somebody looking into your life, also holding you accountable, you're able to work on those finer details that could help you become better a lot faster than you would on your own.
yeah. Um, I remember when I went to a life coach years ago, years ago, I just felt like, I didn't know how to, for me, it was, I didn't know how to love myself. I could hear people saying, love yourself, and we never quite draw the picture of how do you even begin to love yourself, is it when I have a bubble bath and I put candles around that I am loving myself? Is it when, like we just never get into the detail of what, I mean, if I remember my daughter asking me as well, when she was younger, to say, Mommy,
Mm,
uh, what, like basically just asking, how do you love yourself? Like what do you do when you love yourself? And that was my first life coaching experience. I figured I didn't know how to answer these questions. I didn't know really how to love myself. People just kept on saying, love yourself,
mm.
And from there, I got more than what I was looking for. I got a purpose and I knew from there what Lina I wanted to do. So, would you say that what are some of the things that people discover maybe when they go through life coaching about themselves?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Hobulalaka, loving yourself. Because I think in my work very early in my career, because I think with my background, I studied psychology before getting into NLP and life coaching. But very early in my career, I realized something that many of the clients that I was seeing, there was a common denominator. Clients that came to me with problems, the common denominator was a low self-esteem. And a low self-esteem is just simply your personal appraisal of yourself. How do you look at yourself, your self-worth? Do you believe that you are worthy of better things? Do you believe that you are worthy of being loved? Do you believe that you are worthy of actually being successful? Because I think that on its own determines how you relate to other people. For example, if you've got a low self-esteem or if you don't love yourself enough, you'll be that person that walks into a building wanting to go and sell your idea, but meet the CEO and knowing that this is the CEO, still ask if you can go and speak to the HR. Simply because that you feel you're not good enough to speak to the CEO at that point, you'd rather go through the HR. Whereas the CEO would have been the ideal person to actually speak to. So I think that's where we need to start with self-love. Do you believe you are worthy or do you look down on yourself? And that will manifest in different areas of our lives. We'll turn down certain positions. We'll settle
Mm,
for salaries that we feel we don't that we feel, "Ish, okay, it's not enough, Mara, it's fine." But simply
yeah.
because I don't think I'm worthy of a better salary. I think for now, the reason just to share my story, the reason I went out into starting my own academy, I was offered a permanent position by the company that I was training for. And at that point, whatever they were offering, I said, look, you need to beat what I was earning when I was still employed for me to come back to be employed again. And when they felt that they can't beat that, I said, that's fine. I can't blame you for that. But I know my worth. So let me go wherever I feel that I will be, valued for my worth. And for me, that is what motivated the step for me to step out into my own and build my own brand. So
Mm,
someone else might have actually settled.
mm,
Later on, before I stepped away, I was offered a house in 4 ways where I would train and stay from. I was offered funding for me to go to London to attend the conference. But if I didn't know what my value was and what my vision was, I would have given up on my purpose. I would have given up on my dreams simply because I didn't know what it was. But because I knew that was not even going to tempt me. Those are the
Mm,
benefits that you can get from having somebody to speak to. Somebody can hold you accountable, somebody to show you where it is that you want to go. Because that's where many of us get stuck. We get stuck because we don't even know. We live in life, we're simply just living. You know,
mm,
we're simply just alive in this world of ours, and we're not living our lives consciously. Therefore, whatever comes at us, we actually accept and we say, oh, well, that is part of life.
mm. And talking about your experience, I'll relate mine where I just had, I think it was low self-esteem, or I just didn't believe I was worthy. I met this wonderful, great guy, but he happened to be very rich. He happened to be a billionaire, and me being me at that time with my confidence, I just refused to be with this guy because I just didn't believe you. I just didn't believe I was worthy of this guy. I just didn't believe like oh my God, like is he blind or what? Like he could get like and so part of having a low self-esteem is that you're right, you'll miss on the opportunities because you don't feel like you're worthy of you self-sabotage, and this is one of the things that we do. We self-sabotage a
True.
lot. And what are some of the ways that we self-sabotage ourselves, whether it's in relationships or in our careers? I mean, um, before we even get to the self-sabotage, I wanted to ask you, Hurem, where does this come from? Do we go to life coaching because our lives were so horrible, we had horrible childhood? Like, I just think like whose job is it to teach us about self-esteem? Where do we break? Who's the guy and when, in our
Um,
lives?
I usually give this analogy, and I realized that when I was moving out of my place. So sometime I mean, those who know my journey, I resigned from work to go and start training. And after resigning, the company that I was supposed to train for went through some changes, and I could not start working for them.
Mm,
So I found myself an entrepreneur who's self-employed, which was not my intention. So when I found myself in that situation, I was about to lose my house because obviously there was no income. So I had to
mm,
repaint my house and move out. So as I did that, while I was busy painting, I found myself wondering, what is that? I wonder what's the original color of this wall, and it got me thinking, that many of us are just like that wall. Because when we were born, our parents paint us with a paintbrush of their beliefs about
mm,
who we are, what we are worth, what we are capable of. We go to
mm,
school, our teachers paint us with another paintbrush of their beliefs and what they think we are capable of, what they think who we are. And then our
mm,
friends do the same. We grow up, we start dating. Those people do the same. Our friends, as we get older, they tell you, hey, when you are this, when you look like this, when you look like you're good at this, when you look like, and we get older. And as we get older, based on all those people who we've been interacting with our entire life, we've allowed them to determine who we are. We've allowed them to determine our identity, what we are capable of doing, what we are destined to create in life. Such that you even have somebody who feels they've got the audacity to come and tell you, what I know, I don't think you should try that. At what
mm,
point does this person feel they actually have rights on what you can do to actually go and fulfill your dreams, or what your
mm,
dreams actually are? So we've
mm,
allowed all of those things to determine who we are. And I ask
mm.
myself, who are you? Who are
Yeah.
you? Because
So basically, at some point, we need to change to redo our template of whether it's love, our template of life, our template. We just need to redo it. And this is where now life coaching comes in. And this is where people like you come in to help us basically start a new way of being, start a new way of believing, start a new way of yeah, I know I get that, hey.
and I mean, exactly your example to relate it to the men out there, because I think many of us relate to that. Okay, yo, I know, ka tlhakane le ngwanyana o, and you know what? Ke rile ke mmona ka re, I know, oh, she's out of my league. How many of us get to that point in life where we say, no, oh, she's out of my league? How many of us get to a point where we say, no, this job, no, this job is not for me. This one, somebody more intelligent, and we limit ourselves simply because of that. So life coaching helps us to just start questioning those things, because the information we get from these people, some of the information has been building, has built
Mm,
us and has made us believe in us. So it's about you being able to start questioning that accordingly, to say, Ish, whatever I've taken, is this helping me grow, or is this
mm,
making my life much heavier? And many of us, we do it as bras together while we are talking, whereas we share things with each other that don't help us grow. And I think things are beginning to change, because I think, this thing of life coaching, um, and maybe I need to just share this, because I think as a life coach, for you to be a life coach, you don't necessarily have to be certified to be a life
mm,
coach. You can be a life coach. If you want to be a life coach and you've got the gift, you can start doing it. However, being certified just helps you become that much more powerful. It just helps you become a master of the craft. And I think that's the difference. So as Majida, while we're busy talking to one another, we are busy coaching each other. We're busy influencing one another. The question is, are we influencing one another to move from where we are to where we want to get to? Or are we influencing one another to remain in the same area where we are all comfortable without progressing?
mm, mm. Are we then saying, when we talk about life coaching, are we saying people must be teaching people how to have perfect lives, how to be in a perfect state emotionally, how to always have it together? What is it? Are we saying that with life coaching, life is perfect, or what are we saying?
No, not necessarily. In fact, in life coaching, we don't believe life can ever be perfect, because the moment your life is perfect, it means that you stop growing. And if you're not growing, it means that you're dying. So
Mm,
ideally, you are constantly working towards a better you. You're constantly working towards being, and I think many of us are living mediocre lives. Many of us are limiting ourselves simply because we feel that we are okay with what we have. So even if I get to a point, and I mean, we've seen it, there's many men out there who financially are well off, who are still not happy with where they are. I can still coach somebody who's earning 50 billion rand a month to improve their business to earn even more, and,
mm,
and that is it. So constantly in life, you can always improve. But I always say, the moment you get to a point in life where you are content and at peace with what you have done to be where you are, then then that for me is what I define as success. Because
mm,
the moment that you feel that, yes, I've worked hard, but you're not at peace with where you are, you're not at peace with the success that you've gained, that's not success. So a
mm,
life coach helps you be content with the efforts that you've made, helping you understand that even the mistakes that you've made, you did not intentionally do them to sabotage yourself. It's just because you didn't know. But because now you
mm.
know, let us help you start working on things that you can improve on, things that you can
Yeah.
change.
Mm. And I always say, Hore, for me, excuse me, for me, the one thing that has been so profound about this whole journey for me was the fact that I learned how to trust me, right?
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
but I also learned to forgive myself if I make mistakes,
sure.
which I think a lot of us fail to do. But also, just I've worked on being the kind of person that I can trust to have my back if I make a mistake, or if I've made a wrong choice, or if I made a wrong move or whatever. I've worked on being the kind of person that I can trust to be there for me, and I think that is the essence for me of life coaching, is that you don't miss we do, life doesn't have to be perfect, but you work at being so stable emotionally that whatever phase you find yourself in, uh you whatever phase you find yourself in, you could you come out of it not self-sabotaging, not self-hating, not and etc. Do men
More
also
at peace.
self-hate?
So you're more at peace. I didn't get that last part. There was a bit of feedback there.
Yeah, you're more at peace, but I was asking, do men self-hate? Because I get a lot of women, and when you coach them or when you speak to them, a lot of it is self-hate, and do men self-hate as well? I mean, women can go on from how they look to how they sound. It's just, or why they didn't get the job. They'll always bring it back to themselves in a negative way. Like it's always self-hate. Women operate it at an angle of self-hate a lot of times. Do men self-hate as well?
Definitely, definitely. And we do it. Remember, self-hate will project in different ways. Some will self-blame and will destroy ourselves. I mean, as men, we definitely get to a point where we think we're not good looking enough. We think that we're not good enough, and I think we have nice ways of hiding it.
Okay,
For
that's
us
the
as
difference.
men, yeah, for us as men, and many of us, I mean, as men, the moment I hate myself and I feel I'm not good looking enough, I just adopt a sense of not caring. Because when I don't care, it doesn't hurt me anymore. Because now I don't
Mm,
care how I look. So that's why you
mm,
find those men who now don't even make an effort about looking good. Now I just become scruffy and then khajo, niggas buy. And that attitude is what enables us to cope with the fact that I don't like myself by saying
mm,
Akazai, you know.
mm,
And that's what that but however, that's one way that the self-hate will manifest in the one guy. And another will manifest in a way of me now starting to starting to tease other men or starting to say negative things to other men simply because I don't like how I look. But if I don't like
mm,
how I look and I don't like the way that I feel about myself, I need to make other people feel the same way about themselves. And that's
mm.
how I cope through life. So those are the different ways that as men, we deal and cope with that self-hate. The fact that I really
Yeah.
don't like where I am and how I look and the things that I've achieved, I need to find somebody else that I can start beating down so that at least I feel better about myself.
Mm.
It's
Somebody's
so
asking
many
you a
times.
question.
Sure, sure, sure.
Sorry. Somebody's asking you a question, Rachel. What's the difference between life coaching and motivational speaking? And who's a life coach? Because every day there seems to be popping up in the garden. Wow, Rachel. There's a lot of us who are life coaches who are doing life coaching. And
There is,
so
there
he's
is.
asking what's the difference between life coaching and motivational speaking. And let's talk about it. It, everybody's getting into this life coaching. Like how do you know you're also okay? Let's answer the first question first before I get to the other question. Let's answer what's the difference between life coaching and motivational speaking.
So as a motivational speaker, because I also do motivational speaking, which is something that I don't really it's not really my passion. But when I do it as a motivational speaker, I will share insight with you. I will advise you. I will share things that I think will help you improve. So I'm going to give you whatever information that I think works, and I want you to apply it in your life so that it can work for you. I'm going to say things that are going to make you feel excited and feel hopeful and get you so motivated. I mean, and get you just feeling in high emotional states where you start believing that you can.
Mm,
However, you are going to do it because now I told you so. Okay.
mm,
In coaching, I'm going to ask you questions so that when you can come up with the answers yourself. So in coaching, we do not advise. I cannot tell you what to do. I can only ask you questions for you to come up with the answers yourself. And I always say this that the reason for me and I prefer coaching is because if I tell you something, it means one thing. But if I ask you questions for you to tell yourself something, it means everything to you because you have come up with the answers for yourself. When you move forward with conviction because it's not something that somebody has said, yeah, no, you must do this. It's something where you thought, wow, actually, I want to do this. I
mm,
actually think I need to change this. And
mm,
that's the difference. Coaching is where I ask you questions so you can come up with the answers on how you're going to move from where you are to where you want to get to. And I ask you questions on where you want to get to. So you can come up
Mm.
with those answers because then you know where you're going. And secondly, you know how to get to where you want to go through questioning.
Yeah.
Motivation. I assume that we all want to be this kind of successful, and these are the results that we want. And I'm gonna tell you what it is that you can do to get there, and I'm gonna tell you again that you can do it, and then I'm gonna remind you once again that in fact you've got all the capabilities for you to do that, and I'll even give you my how to get there. Whether you take it or not, whether it leads you to where you want to get to, I don't really care. I've given you information, but guys, it does have some value because I think, in general, if I was to generalize, all of us want peace. All of us want to be free. All of us want to be happy. And as a speaker, I can generalize along those lines, and I know that I'm going to hit a couple of people who are going to want to get there. I hope
Mm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I hope that answers you, Reggie. But for me, I would say it in layman's terms, for me, motivational speaking is basically storytelling with the aim of making somebody feel a certain way, right? And then life coaching is story building. So basically, building a story, and which is the difference. I'm not telling a story. I'm building. You're helping somebody build a story, a different story. And again, back to the question, yeah, Reggie, and which is a fair one. Everybody's now a life coach. Like I read a book and or I speak so well or I have a couple of followers and I post codes, daily codes, motivational codes, and before you know it, I'm a life coach. So why are we seeing such a high number of self? Let me not be self-proclaimed, but why is now life coaching? Why is everybody a life coach now? Like, what's happening? Are you guys getting paid a lot of money to be life coaches, or what is this drive to be a life coach now?
Look, I think personally, I think even before I actually got into the space of training coaches, there's been a lot of people by longer because they overcame something and wrote a book, call themselves coaches. There's been a number of those people who felt, and in reality, there is no there's no rule that says you can't call yourself a life coach if you haven't studied life coaching, unfortunately.
Mm,
So people are going out there calling themselves life coaches. So if you are sitting out there wanting to be a life coach, or wanting to see a life coach, for me, I would also go and look into where did this person qualify. What are the qualifications? What is this person's background that qualifies this person to actually come and say, you know what, I'm a coach, I'm doing this, and so forth. And similarly, even if you're gonna go and study with, find out what are the bodies that they are registered with. Who are they registered with? What are their qualifications that qualifies them to train you? Because there's a lot of also academies that are popping up without properly qualified trainers to certify you, and that you start realizing it when you get to your international bodies, and they don't even recognize your certificate. So for me, it's not the relevant questions, but I think in seeing a person for now, even if somebody's qualified, I still want to know if, Lord, I can connect to that person. I will
mm,
not go and see a coach that I do not feel safe, I do not feel I trust. And that's it. That's very important. I've seen so many clients who come to me, but yo, Maritime, so wow, what you've just done. Yo, it's different to that coaching session that I had because this person was telling me what I must do, this. And then you didn't tell me anything. Like you did. And I think that's it. The difference is I need to be able to shy away. And remember, in coaching, you can also tell stories, but the stories that you tell, we call it conversational reframing. The stories that you tell, I tell my story, and then I don't say this is what you must do to my client. I'll say, I don't know what it is that you're taking out of this story, and my client will take out their insight out of whatever it is they want to take. That's their own insight they are taking out of that. So I think that is a powerful way of just helping our clients without saying, no, I did this. I tell my story and I say, this is what I did. So I think, Loena, if you do this and this and this and this, it will help you. Then I'm now starting to, I'm leading. We call it leading in coaching. So we must just be careful of just leading, because it's quite easy for me to lead a client into a certain direction that I want, without them wanting to go there. And they start believing that that's where they want to go. So we must just be very careful with that.
Mm-hmm. There's also been questions about therapy and life coaching, where now people are cutting corners because price-wise, uh, life coaching offers quick remedies, whereas therapy, psychology or whatever, it's a psychologist, seeing a psychologist, it's more money and whatever. So what's the difference between seeing like a psychologist, seeing a therapy, and seeing a life coach? When do
So
you
so
know where you need where or at?
as a psychologist, you would be, that's a therapist. So a therapist would be a psychologist. There'd just be maybe a difference between somebody who's a registered counselor and a psychologist or a therapist. It's just a matter of qualifications. The one may be honors level qualification, the other is a master's level qualification. Then obviously at a master's level, then you have different types, which is clinical, and then you have counseling, which is more talk therapy.
Psychological.
Clinical is, yeah, so in educational and so forth. However, for now, I think because I've got a background in psychology, and I started off with counseling, that for me gave me kind of an understanding of the difference between the two, because there's a lot of similarities. For now, I think the main difference that started swinging people away from counseling to more to coaching is that in corporate, people would not want to go and see a psychologist, because then it meant that I've got a problem and this person is going to help me deal with the problems. And then in coaching, this person helps me know where I want to go and helps me focus on what goals I can achieve, and helps me focus on what is it that I want to achieve in life and where I want to get to in life. So the other one is focused on getting away from the problem and dealing with the problem. And the other one is focused on going to where I want to get to and how I'm going to get there. And I usually use this analogy, that in life often we find ourselves stuck, and you might find yourself stuck for whatever reasons. You might find yourself at crossroads, not knowing whether to turn left or to turn right. And if you find yourself stuck, or for example, you're stuck in mud, a psychologist will ask you, what led to you to be stuck inside the mud? How does it feel being stuck in the mud? And that those are, so that's one of the approaches that will focus. There are solution focused approaches in psychology which focus on getting the results, getting the getting to where you want to get to. There is narrative therapy in psychology, which is the use of stories, to help our clients reframe the way they look at the problems. But then in life coaching, mostly we're outcome based. We're focusing on, where are you now? Okay, Sharpo, but do you want to get out of the mud? Because I'm not going to help a client who does not have a problem. I cannot help somebody who does not have a problem. I cannot help somebody who's okay where they are. If you're okay where you are, then it's okay. I will leave you there. But if you feel, I'm not happy in this mud, okay, great. Where do you want to go? Let's help you discover where it is that you want to go. No, no, no. I want to get to that place over there in the garden, not just outside of the mud, but I want to go to the garden, because if you don't know where you are going, then how do we help you go? I mean, then any road will take you there. Then you might find yourself outside of this mud, and then you think, okay, fine, but I'm not happy. Then you say, no, this coaching is not working. So we'll say, where do you want to go? We define exactly where you want to go, and we start finding strategies to help you get there. That is what coaching is all about. Then you
Yeah.
have NLP, which now comes into play, and NLP now says, Sharpo, you know where you want to
What
go.
is NLP?
So NLP is
I
neuro
am
linguistic
asking for the
programming.
viewers. Okay, thank
So
you.
yes, good question. Good question. Thank you for that. So it's neuro. It stands for neuro linguistic programming. Neuro, the mind. So neuro comes from the mind. Linguistic comes from communication. And as people, we use both verbal and non-verbal communication. You see the use of my hands. If I say over there, Okay, already there you want to look, because then I'm using non-verbal conversation. If I say it was, and already you think it was big or it was round or whatever, but I'm using both my hands to communicate and also what I'm saying. And lastly, we have programming. Programming, which is automatic responses that have become habits. So automatic responses that have become habits, and those automatic responses could be your thoughts, they could be your feelings, how you feel, or they could be your behaviors. So neurolinguistic programming is just your mind, how your mind, okay, how we communicate with our mind to create those habits that, or those thoughts that we consistently, that give us the results that we're getting. But we now use it to actually change how your mind works. So we can change the nervous system, change how your mind works, so that you can remove or change those thoughts, those emotions, or those behaviors that are preventing you from getting the results that you want to get in life. All of
Mm.
us have certain feelings that stop us from doing what we want to do. I want to speak, but oh, when I'm supposed to speak, there's certain feelings that stop me. And then we have those behaviors that, yeah, I just can't stop doing these behaviors. And I know that they're sabotaging me, but I just can't stop. I want to stop drinking. I want to stop smoking. And I want to make sure that I can maybe stop avoiding my wife when we have to go into the bedroom. But I just can't stop this behavior. We use NLP to improve in those different things, to change or remove those things. And sometimes it might be your limiting beliefs that are preventing that. Sometimes it might just be just maybe your past experience that is leading to you feeling that you can't do this.
Mm. Shouldn't life coaches have expertise? Because I feel like life coaching is so broad. Like somebody can come to you now, utobuaka relationship problems. Somebody can come to you, utobuaka financial problems. Are life coaches masters of it all, or
So,
they
so
have specialties, or like some like I feel like ne, for example, if I get a client about traumas such as childhood rape and whatever, I'm not equipped for that. I'm not equipped to handle those triggers and those, So I'll say, you need a psychologist, you need, but what I've seen is people thinking they can solve just about any problem that is even beyond what their areas of specialties are. So shouldn't we have specialties? Because I feel like life coaching, so I don't know if I'm wrong to feel this, but it's just so broad. Like, where do you start and where do you end as a life coach?
so look, it depends what it is that you're doing, or that you want to focus on. Um, so as a coach, I would normally say to a coach, go out there and help people. Remember, as a coach, you are not trying to remove any past things, any traumas or whatever. You are helping people know where it is that they want to go and how to get there. That's as a coach, as a life coach. As an NLP practitioner, now you have a bit more of an area of focus, and that is you're now able to deal with limiting beliefs. You are now able to deal with helping people know what is important. Excuse you, helping people know what is important, and helping them make decisions according to what's important to them, not to other people, and also helping them change those behaviors they just can't stop doing, but also even helping them deal with past traumas that are preventing them from doing certain things. That's more in NLP. So you are trained in terms of dealing with that, and you actually, the ways it's taught is you are trained in a way that you actually help people in your class deal with childhood traumas, so that you can see you actually also deal with your own childhood traumas. So you actually are now able to do that. However, I think even though you might have studied all of that, there are certain people who feel like, you know what, yes, I know all of these things, but my niche is this. For example, personally, I do public speaking coaching. Um, my other niche is personal development. I've got three niches, and the other is mental health. And mental health, simply because of my psychology background and my work background. I mean, working with people with mental health and addiction problems for 7 years. and the personal development, my personal journey, and what I'm passionate about. But then also there's public speaking. Somebody will come to me and say, no, Taviso, I've got I need you to help me with my public speaking. I had one client specifically, and I'll share her story because I mean she's a speaker herself and she speaks about her journey. So when she came into the session, fine, Shapo, she wants me to help her with this, and then boom, she breaks down. So it turns out that her child passed away, if I'm not wrong, when she was 1 year, 6 months, with Gate and died on the spot. So and she's gone through challenges over that, trying to cope, and her life was just not going anywhere. So when she came to me, she's like, I want to speak about my journey. I want to speak about my life. However, every time I get to that part of my life, I break down, and it takes me 24 hours for me to recover. So I said, okay, fine, let me take you through a process to help you deal with that. Took her through a process. Immediately, we test, talk about your journey, and let's see if you can break down now. And when you test that, she was able to speak about her journey. And now she's now speaking about her journey. And I remember I was invited for an interview at Power FM, and I said to come and speak on trauma. And I said, look, you are a speaker. Here's a platform to come and market your speaking. Share about your journey, how I helped you through this process. And she said, great. She came on, and when she was asked the question, I remember Pavi was asking the question, Ari, so how was your child's face? How did you feel? And a tear went down, and then I was like, and she was like, no, I'm good. Afterwards, she was like, you know what, Thabiso, after you helped me, I was worried, will I ever be able to cry for my child's loss again? Nah. And I was so glad that I was able to still shed a tear, but I didn't break down. And I think those are the benefits of that. So, but however, there are coaches who have decided to niche, to say, nah, this is my area of passion. This is what I choose to focus on. And I think very important with that, when I train coaching, is for you to understand, Gore, for you to coach somebody else. If you think you need to be an expert on a specific area, you are going to coach them to where you want them to go, not where they want to go. That's the challenge there. So if you think when you're an expert on this, therefore you're gonna go there, then you're going to start advising. You're not going to ask questions. So as a coach, I don't have to have made 1 million in my business for me to help you make 1 million in your business. I simply just have the tools to help you move from where you are to making that 1 million. For me as a coach, I don't have to know anything about the Bible for me to help you improve your relationship with your higher power. I simply know the tools that will help you connect to your higher power. And I ask questions and I use those tools that will facilitate the process. I usually say, as a coach, remember a coach was, those cards. The coach is the horse and the cart. As a coach, I'm simply the person who sits on top and just directs, checking where you're going, where you're going. But now I don't determine where you're going. You inside the cart decide, or no, I want to go there. Great stuff. Okay, Sharpo, now I help you get there faster. And I think that is the whole process. So a lot of the time we shouldn't go and try and advise, because there I'm not gonna sit there and say, hey, no, I think you must go there. And then I start chatting. No. You do the work. I'm simply just a facilitator in the process.
Yeah. And also, I think giving people the benefit of tailoring whatever they hear. I don't like it when people just take whatever a person says and not tailor it to their situation or tailor it to their life or goals, it's very important that wherever you go, and whoever you consult with, that you take it, use what you want to use, lose what you don't want to use, because often people now make it motho sa tla go wena ha sa kgona ho function without a life coach now. They're so dependent and so reliant that they come to you even when they need to make the smallest of decisions, because they don't trust themselves to make, so
And
that
I think,
I don't.
a good life coach knows to reinforce the outcomes, because a lot of the times clients will say, yo, Thabiso on 2 seats. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to do this. No, hold on. Because now I only ask you questions. You're the one who made all the decisions. You're the one who went home and took all the steps that got you to where you are. Acknowledge yourself and start trusting yourself more. And I think that's where it is, because I think, and you get this a lot. People are gonna come to you and say, yo, Mara, you know what? What do you think I should do on this? Tabiso, can you please just advise more, get the rain more in this situation? Be careful, be careful, be careful. Wuchisha. If you advise that person, Otlo Wemoena are, hey, after you said I must do this, we are not after this, I've got problems. What should I do now? And that's where that dependency starts coming from. So now I very, very quickly, and people will want to hold you accountable. Somebody will leave a marriage and come and blame you because they said you said it. I always ask my clients, and I will never ever advise, because I know my client will come back and hold me accountable and say, "You said it." So people will ask you for advice because they now know they've got somebody to point a finger at when it starts getting difficult. And that's why you want to ask them questions to come up with their own answers, so they can come and take responsibility and accountability. I mean, I had one client who decided, and I remember I just resigned life in Samawaza. And this client comes to me and she's like, Ish, you know what? I'm unhappy with my boss and I want to resign and I have to give a 3 months notice. Inside of me, everything inside of me was saying, "Please don't resign. Don't resign. You don't
You
know
don't know how
why."
bad it gets. You don't know the struggle.
Oh my goodness. And I was like so tempted to say, no, find something. So I asked her questions and eventually she said, I'm resigning. And I remember she went through, she had to go for an interview. So she bumped into my friend and whatever at where she was going for an interview. And my friend was like, hey, okay, Sharp, no. But why did you resign before Ntongela? Why did you resign without finding another job? And then she started doubting why she actually now made this decision. So my friend calls me, he's like, how do you coach your people, Joe? How can you coach her to resign before I didn't. I actually even said, please do not make a decision in this session. Let me see for 1 or 2 sessions, then you make your decision. She still made the decision. And I will coach my client regardless of what decision they make. So I took her through, she went through the process, and she came back and she's like, yo, Thabiso, I think maybe I made the wrong decision resigning, because I'm starting to regret why. And I said, okay, let me take you through a process just to help you understand whether Vela Vela you made, and we'll unpack it, you decide. Took her through a process, and thereafter she was like, yo, thank you, Lord. You know what? Life is not good, and I might have to sell my house. However, I now know why I made the decision, and I'm happy with it. Regardless of how
Yeah.
difficult life is, but I know where I'm going to get to. And she did. She
Mm,
continued in the midst of the challenges, in the midst of knowing that she might have to sell a house and at a loss. I mean, she sold a house, she was left with a 40K debt, but she still made the choice. And she was at
mm,
peace with the choice.
mm,
What I'm saying is,
mm.
life coaching is not going to take away the problems in your life. Life coaching is going to equip you with the tools for you to cope with whatever life throws at you, so you can still work towards your purpose.
Mm. We have a question here from Reggie again. Are black men taking up the idea of approaching people like yourself? Uwakawena. Part of Coach's platform mantra is conversation that help men become better. Are you seeing more men approach life coaches? If not, what would be the reason black men don't come through?
Um, I'm just trying to evaluate right now. I'm not seeing an increase in men coming to me. I am seeing a couple of men that I'm holding accountable, and I think mainly it's because you know I think in our culture it's always seen as, or a why should somebody else come and tell me how to live my life? That's always been a problem, especially for us as
Mm,
men.
mm,
Because then that just means, Hore, I'm saying that or I'm not good enough by
mm,
seeking help from somebody else. or getting somebody to help me, look at life. And often I have people say, "So when I only so young, you are a life coach. You know everything about life." And I know I don't know everything about life. In fact, life yan ravas alem, but
Mm,
I've learned tools that will help people master themselves, master their lives. And that is it. And mastery is that you remain in control, you remain calm no matter what challenges life throws at you. So
mm,
to answer your question, I think there is still that resistance as men or I can still do it myself.
mm,
And I think we need to have more of these conversations to sensitize men, to start exploring how is it that I could benefit from coaching. Because we often tend to think, "Oh, yeah, life coaching only, yeah, if you're in your career and whatever." No, I mean, life coaching you could also explore, maybe where you are not engaging in sexual activities in your relationship,
mm,
and you want to get to a point where you want to start engaging in sexual activities with your partner, or with your spouse, and coaching can help you improve or explore other ways that you could improve and start being sexually active. And sometimes
mm,
because we're afraid of talking about these things, or hey, I'm not fit, I'm struggling to go and perform or whatever. And sometimes it's just having the right conversations, because I think maybe just to understand coaching, it's simply a conversation that equips you with tools to help you know to help you get to where you want to get to, or to help you know where exactly you want to get to, or even simply to help you find different ways to help you get to where you want to get to.
mm. I mean, it's amazing to me that even with spaces like the spaces that you've created where it's literally safe to be vulnerable and all that, that men are still not coming, you know. Is there a place where black men feel free to just be vulnerable and be emotional? Is there a space? Because I don't I don't see them doing that anywhere else. They don't do that at home. They're supposed to be fathers, dads. Kuru, you have to be strong at work. You have to be strong at church. Kiddy leaders, they have to be strong. They have to be men. Like, is there a space where where men go and just be vulnerable without the toilet space? Other than that, you know.
Yeah, I think, look, I don't know whether it's the best space or not, but I mean, you put a couple of men together, you put some alcohol there, men will become vulnerable.
Mm,
Unfortunately, the vulnerability comes at a point where whatever comes out of that conversation, this person is not going to even remember it.
mm,
So I think we constantly feel we have to have our guards up to protect ourselves. And I think maybe as men we still feel that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, and for now I struggle to understand that concept, because if being vulnerable is a sign of weakness, then that would mean that everyone would be vulnerable, if it was a sign of weakness. But because everyone is afraid of being vulnerable, maybe somebody who's vulnerable is somebody who's quite courageous. Somebody who's
mm,
vulnerable is somebody who's strong. Because for now, I judge strength and courage by doing things that many people are unable to do. That's how
mm,
I judge. So if we're not, as a man, you are doing something that everyone does with ease, which is hiding your vulnerability, then I don't see how that actually makes you strong in any way. And I think we need to start reframing our perception of vulnerability, because vulnerability means that you actually have to be strong. Many of us are afraid of going there. We're afraid of feeling
mm,
that pain, and therefore we block it out. But blocking it out, we destroy everything else around us. We destroy our relationships. We destroy the things we value. We destroy our friendships. We destroy our spouses, even
mm,
physically so.
mm.
So
Yeah. When is it the right time to learn? I feel like, we only ever get to learn about life coaching so late, Muna. You are 30, you've already made so many mistakes, you're 35, why is it that this is never taught from childhood? Why is it that we don't get these skills from childhood, and why now? You can't. By the time you're trying to teach me something new, it's gonna take me years to even learn. If
True,
this is such an essential service, why is it that it doesn't come through as an essential program in our upbringing?
true. I've got. I mean, obviously there are some coaches whose niche is to go in and coach parents. And I think for now coaching, before we even go into why is it not taught, it starts at home. It starts at home in the kind of conversations we are having with our little ones. We think coaching, and I think now we're at an era where we're starting to realize, Ori, the things that our parents and people around us have been saying to us while we're still young are having a massive impact on our lives. So there's no need in waiting until our children turn 18 for us to start teaching them responsibility and accountability. We need to start teaching it at that age. And I think for us as Black people, we've been taught already, as a child, uh, you are not responsible for anything. Your job is to listen to what you are being told and do as you are told. And I think that's where you start realizing the difference between how a white child is raised, how a black child is raised. A black
Mm,
child will be able to a white child will be able to tell you what, hey, now is this wrong with me, and this is how I'm going to solve it, and this is why the doctor has done this to me or whatever. A child will not no, and then you're
Hi,
not even thinking
Tutsuriki.
about, you don't even know Turkey, you don't even know what is the process, but no, now there are so we are used to being told what to do, and that's
Mm,
why we are constantly being led by other people, and we
mm,
struggle to lead ourselves because in our lives, as we were raised, we've constantly been told how to grow up. So I think even
mm,
now we're constantly looking for other people to tell us, and that's why we'll go to somebody else who's going to come and tell me. Motivational speaker is going to tell me what to do, not somebody who's going to ask me questions. And that's why you find some people who get frustrated. The moment you start asking, no, I can't answer. Why are you now asking me questions? And so forth. So you have those things because we want to be told. And once we are told, I know I can now blame you because you told me. We are
mhm.
lazy to think um, for of solutions to our own problems. The analogy that I used when I was giving a talk the other day, I used this analogy. This guy who was looking for keys, and Nana load shedding, and he looked for the keys. He looked for keys in the house, and he looked everywhere. Kora anyaka, 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 anyaka. I said, great. So he eventually got to the window, and then there was like light and a lamp outside on the street there. And he went outside, atomo anyaka there by the light. Anyaka, 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 anyaka. And then his neighbor, Amona Anyaka, came there, and then Amutusa Onyaka. Anyaka, kamuka, anyaka, anyaka. And they could not find the keys. Then the neighbor is like, let's trace your steps, Joe. Where did you last have the keys? It's like, no, inside the house. So it's like, no, why are we looking out here? And the guy's like, no, because it's too dark inside. So I decided to come and look inside here. And I think so many of us Black people are looking for answers in other people. That's why we're always looking for advice. We're always we feel that the best answers are in other people because the answer
Mm,
is right there. We're afraid of
mm,
looking inside because it's too dark to look inside. We're not
mm,
used to looking inside of ourselves for the answers. That's what a
mm,
coach does. Helps you look inside of you for those keys that you need to unlock the doors that you want to lock. Those keys that you need to unlock the solutions that you need. Those keys that you need to open the doors of breakthroughs in your life. But we are afraid of looking inside. And the more
mm,
familiar you get used to going inside, I think you've seen it even when you have had light load shedding or and you don't have any candles, you eventually started seeing a lot clearer the longer you spend time in the darkness. The
mm,
more familiar you get used to going inside, it becomes a lot easier for you to find those keys, to find those answers, to find those solutions. That's
mm.
what life coaching is all about.
It's about, yeah. I mean, with us Black people, we can easily spend between the three of us just sitting here, 2,000 Rand on alcohol, but we cannot spend 50 Rand to go and listen to a talk that is about men or that is about self-development and so what advice would you give to especially our black men, because this is specifically about them, it's a conversation for men. What advice would you give to men about self-development and really start being curious about themselves and being curious about how they see life.
I think, Bujish, a lot of the time we'll sit with that person who spends that 2,000 rand on alcohol. Well, nowadays it's no longer 2,000, it's 15,000 or 20,000 in a night.
Hey.
And then,
Go on.
and then go and say, hey, Mara, diamond is tlaela. Hey, did you see what we're? For now, I think one thing as black brothers, we need to start building each other. We need to start having conversations that help us build one another. Because not that person that goes and spends 20,000 rand in a night, it's just screaming, I need help. I don't feel I'm good enough, and I feel I need to spend this money for me to feel good enough. So basically, we need to start sitting down and having conversations, not referral, but together to say, let us engage in conversations that help us build ourselves. But also, sometimes let's seek out where we can go to have those conversations. If you feel that I'm not ready for a one-on-one coaching session, start exploring group coaching sessions so you can go as bras, so that, because I think a lot of the challenge is you go for coaching alone, you come back to the
Mm,
same environment which is not helping
mm,
you grow, and then
mm,
you still feel stunted. But if you take those guys that you are normally with and you say, guys, let's attend this session, let's go for a group coaching session, and then it's about, okay, Shapo, what is the direction we can all go, how can we also support each other, how can we hold each other accountable, and then you will grow. Investing in
mm,
yourself says to you that you say, I'm important, I'm
mm,
worthy, and my life really matters. and
mm,
and, and I think that's where we need to start saying, before other people, where do I sit with me? You know,
mm,
as a man, we want to be providers. What are you providing for yourself? What are you
mm,
providing for you to grow for yourself?
mm,
Because as a person, you can't give something that you don't have. For me to give you love, I need to have love inside. I can't give anything that I don't have. If I don't invest in myself, how do I give you? And I think the perfect analogy is, you can't pour out of an empty cup. We want to
mm,
raise our children, but however, we are never taking the time to fill our own cup. Invest in the things that will help you fill your own cup so that you can go and pour out into your employees, pour out into your spouse, pour out into your children. So you don't become that man whose children don't even know, simply
and they
because.
don't benefit from, they can't say that because of you, this is how I think, and that's very important. We have some few comments, but I'm not going to go through them because actually our time was just only an hour, and I'm very respectful of your time as well. I'm sure you're busy, but maybe like the last question that I would have is, what are the benefits of self-development as a man? What are the benefits of self-development as a man?
Then the benefits holistically, if I have to touch on it as a man, is that it will help you find alignment in your life. A lot of the time, we are either focusing on our work and then neglecting our family life, or we are focusing on spending time with the gens and then neglecting our work. Or so for you to just have alignment, it's just for you to just make sure that your life is fully balanced. Your life
Mm-hmm.
is fully balanced in all areas of development in your life. And areas of development in your life, it could be spirituality, it could be your relationships at work, it could be your social relationships, it could be your finances, it could be your health, your mental health, it could be your physical health. I'm looking at all these things holistically, and ask yourself, which area do I feel I could do with an improvement on? and which area am I focusing too much on? Because then I
Mm.
might start realizing, well, maybe I'm spending too much time with the gens, and maybe I need to just start limiting that. And you realize that maybe that time I can put into spending time with my children and helping them be able to have ideas that they can come and one day say, I got these ideas from my father. Or maybe it could be you working on your health, because now starting to exercise might start benefiting you in the bedroom. And it
Mm.
starts, so because there's no alignment, and maybe your diet, because of your diet, you're unable to. So start exploring coaching so that you can start benefiting on all and aligning and finding a balance in all these areas of your personal development.
A healthy balance. I like that. Thabiso, thank you so much for this. We are officially out of time. But before I let you go, actually, where do people find you? How do they contact you? Where do they find you?
So there's the page Subconscious Frequency. That's one page. Thabiso Mailula on Facebook. At Subconscious Frequency on Instagram. At Coach Thabiso Mailula ZA on Instagram. Or yes, Thabiso Mailula on LinkedIn. But yeah, I think I'm always sharing everything on Facebook. Thabiso Mailula, Coach Thabiso Mailula ZA on other platforms.
Okay, please inbox me that information. I'm gonna put it on my timeline as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much
so
for
much.
having me.
This was so fruitful. Thank you. Thank you guys for the
Awesome.
comments as well. Thank you for making time to view this and really text your comments. Much appreciated. All right. Thank you, Thabiso. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too, yeah?
Bye.
Bye.